Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest edition of the Magical Human Show. We are meeting because it's our regular time, and we've got a new moon coming up on Sunday. Is that right, Claire? Sunday, what time Sunday? Do you know?
Oh, that's a really
I
good
I
question.
will
I
look it
know.
up when you
June
tell us.
knows. June, what time is it?
I know.
6:23 a.m.
Um, I
That's what my app's telling me. 6:23
have
a.m.
an app telling you this. I've got it in my
Sunday
calendar.
morning.
Um,
What kind of moon is it, Claire?
yes, 6:21 about, yeah.
Well, it is the elder moon, which is the final moon of the year. And this is, well, the calendar year. If you consider the rebirth of the sun being the 21st of December, when we have kind of literally the sun t coming back round, then this is the final moon before that takes place. So this is Elder, and Elder is all about continued gentle self-inquiry, but with the support of the ancestors, because the veil is still thin. So it's kind of it's the magic tree. It's the 13th tree. So it's a very feminine tree and a softening feminine energy around that. And I think that is the once we've done the shadow, like the first part of the shadow journey, which should be over. It's not over. It's never over. But some of it.
It's a lifelong journey.
I know. Then
Never.
Elder can kind of, help with some of that letting go and that kind of love and letting go with love and self-forgiveness and all of that kind of stuff. So,
Thought you were going to start singing.
yeah. So,
Oh, yes. Well, singing. I'm doing a singing thing on Sunday.
ooh,
What is
Got
this
my
you're doing?
words there. I'm not going to burst into song. I can't really do it on my own. I can only do it in a group where I have other people who are better singers than I to
Yeah.
carry us. So yeah, but ancestors. Nancy Rebecca has just done another thing about ancestors, and I feel that this theme it does keep coming back and back and back. However, I just watched a very interesting little mini snippet of something about the Anunnaki.
hmm Tell us a little background
That's
behind
why
that.
I have questions, because apparently, according to them. According to them, the person who put the post up, who I can't even remember who he is now, um, he's claiming that the Anunnaki created us in a bit like a genetic engineering project.
A
To
science experiment gone wrong. Is that what you're saying?
It's possible. I mean, it's beginning to look a bit like that, right?
Not going to argue.
Generally speaking. But yeah, no, this was his premise that the Anunnaki needed to come down here for
mining,
water and gold, I think he was
mining.
saying.
Mm.
And that they decided they needed new slaves. So they created us by engineering with some creatures who were already here. I don't really understand it all because I was busy doing three things at once, as usual. So I sort of listened with one ear and I went, this is too much for me right now. I'll just stop thinking about this. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. What do you know about the Anunnaki, Claire? Because it sheds a different light on the galactic connection. If we are meant to be beings that have come down to help, but that's kind of at odds with that other
Well, not
theory.
really, because if the Anunnaki did create us for slavery purposes, I would say we're very much in a slave system. That's certainly how I feel. And I think that's the way a lot of people feel at the moment. They feel completely powerless. And the whole setup is to make us appreciate how powerless we are so we can do something about it because we have literally had and continue to have all our energy drained out of us and all our magic drained out of us. For those of us that have come to from other kind of alien species to help this world and its change. Why could that not be relevant at the same time as the Anunnaki having created us? Things develop and grow, and they if they could get down here, they're not the only people that could get down here. So, or the only life forms that could get down here. So I think it is plausible. And yeah, the
Yeah.
powerlessness theme is very, very strong for me. I've been speaking to a lot of people that are feeling very curtailed in their freedom, feeling the oppression from life kind of admin responsibilities and restrictions. I've got people like that, and then I've got people that are literally throwing off their responsibilities and going off on amazing traveling journeys. So
Mm.
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, this is true actually. Several things can be true at the same time. Not even just two, more than two. Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a beautiful segue into my current hot topic of like self-development, and that is this issue around triggering, because where Jupiter is in Gemini at the moment is very much about family. And obviously, we're coming towards Christmas. So this is the whole, what are you doing for Christmas? Are you going to be seeing your family? It's like quite a kind of emotive time. And
Mm.
we are journeying down with the ancestors to clear our ancestral karma. So family is really the order of the day, whether it's family from yesteryear or the family you've still got or the future family that you are hoping to attract and have. And this triggering business has come up for me, and I was discussing it with my coach, and he was helping me to appreciate that in the triggering, because sometimes, nearly all the time, the triggers, you think you've worked them through, you think you've got it, da 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 da, and then a similar situation with a different face on shows up, and you get triggered again, na 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 na. And I know I talk about this kind of we're going up the mountain, it's like the same, but the same circles as we go up the mountain. And he was saying that the triggering is like 80% about us and 20% about the other person. So they do have some culpability in that. And I think, Tamar, you would definitely agree with that, wouldn't you? That, but it's really about the mirror of why do we react? Why do we feel like that? But he was saying that if you move above that, and then kind of understand that the rules, the laws of cause and effect in our planet, in our fourth dimension, don't always make sense. It's like, why is so and so getting away with that and I'm not? It's that kind of thing going on. And anyway, and he was saying that if you look at it in the kind of multi-dimensional universe in which we live, we won't even necessarily appreciate or be able to understand what's going on with the triggering process. So what looks like neat, neat, neat down here is actually a soul contract trying to play out. And if you fix the trigger, then you might be releasing like millions of previous hurts that have been done to you in this lifetime and previous lifetimes. So there's a kind of each time you untie the knot, you're not just untying the knot for that situation, is what I'm saying. It's like a knot for perhaps many, many situations and allowing that karmic contract to dissipate. But you might have just chosen lots of contracts. Definitely feel
Talk
like
about multitasking.
bring it on. My God. Yeah, that's how I feel. I came into this
I think
life.
I may be that person. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, that's what I'm working through at the moment is just the trying to get above the kind of the minutiae of feeling trapped and freedomless.
I find it interesting what you said about energies because I had this very conversation yesterday. So in my younger days, I used to go to a lot of gigs and loved them. And in my older years, I'm like, oh, it means going out at night and it's dark and parking, ugh, and it's all the stuff around it that I hate sorting out. But recently, I've been to two gigs, and the one I went to a couple of weeks ago, something came to mind where I saw, I don't know, an article or someone was talking about it on social media that like concerts and stuff are a way for them to harvest our energy. And it's kind of like you've all come together and they're sucking all your energy. And it just came to me in the middle of the gig and I was like, but I'm loving this so much that I don't care. And the next day I was absolutely exhausted. I had nothing. I was just dead. And so I had to do some energy work, calling the energy back. So the one I went to last night, I was conscious of that and did energy work before I went, kind of some protective stuff. And I'm running today on 5 hours sleep and I feel loads better than I did after the other one. So there's really something in that energy field. And I think the first time I learned about that, I'd been visiting a friend of mine who has fibromyalgia and was really struggling, had two young boys, and we'd gone over for a play date. And as I left, I hugged her and went, oh, have some of my energy, innocently not thinking of it. Went home and just had to go to bed. I was so drunk, like drawn and empty. And at that point, I thought, oh, I think there's something in this. And so since then, I've been a bit more careful about it, except 2 weeks ago. So it just kind of fed into what you were saying
Yeah,
about your
no, it's
amazing
Oh,
perfect.
right. So
And,
right.
and I
Yeah.
completely agree with you because the music will raise the vibration and get people really, "Hey," and really open. And especially if people are drinking, then that's just opening all the doors anyway. It's just like, as you say, and there's that Anunnaki kind of meaning behind it all, looking for gold. They're still doing that, aren't they? There's the
Mm,
minority.
mm.
And aren't the Anunnaki supposed to be the lizard people?
Well, that's what I wondered if you knew that. I'm not sure. He didn't actually say those words, but I don't know what
Don't
I.
they walk among us, the lizard people? Hasn't someone allegedly said the royal family are the lizard
Yes,
people?
because
And a
I've
lot
been
of pop
mentioned.
people have sold their souls out to basically get these kind of eternal, youthful kind of,
So
uh,
have you seen recently, suddenly they're going, oh, everyone's suddenly having facelifts. No, no, no. There's something else going on. They're all suddenly, so I'm like, an example being Madonna had really awful surgery and suddenly looks amazing and young again. And they're going, oh, no, no, it's just a new plastic surgeon. It's like, no, there's more to this. There's something going on where a lot of them are suddenly looking a lot younger and not that plastic fakeness. There's something afoot, I think.
Well, Pam Gregory talks about this, and she says that there is, and Robert Edward Grant too, that there is a possibility. This is why I was joking about living to 140,
Mm.
that we are going to be able to control our aging process somehow. Although I think Pam is kind of seduced by the idea of technology and technological advances, which I don't really kind of subscribe to. As you know, I'm more of a do it naturally kind of person. But yeah, I mean, but she's also saying how astrology is going to have to change because of these changes that are coming up. And she's talking about, because she's currently using hmm, is it tropical
right. I don't know.
format? There's different ways of
Yeah,
reading.
there is. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I don't know, but Heather Ensworth also said that we need to look more at the placement in the actual sky. Heather always brings in pictures, not just the charts, the pictures of where the planets all are in relation. I think that's really fascinating.
I agree. And that's funny you mentioned that because I have looked at my star programs and then looked at the sky and been like, why is there a disparity? I thought that was in this at the moment. And actually, I can physically see that it's in this sign. So, what is going on? So, I would concur with that. I would say that's true. I had an interesting discussion yesterday with somebody about flat Earth. And I've always been like a non-flat earther because when I travel up and I'm looking down, it looks to me like the Earth is round. And he was saying, oh, there's all these facts, Claire, about how, how can a bridge be built for a really long way and it doesn't know what the architect doesn't take into consideration the slight kind of variation. There should be a slight curve to it. Why is water flat on the surface of the planet? Why do pilots not adjust in their kind of the way they fly? They adjust their instruments so that basically they can keep on. Why are things not falling off the edge? And I was just like, because of the size of this thing, the increments are minuscule. So I still am a round earth person. But it was just interesting, this kind of,
Yeah.
there's so much stuff coming up again at the moment about kind of, as you say, the Anunnaki, flat Earth. I also heard that the whole nuclear weapons thing was a load of rubbish, and they have never had nuclear weapons, and they use nuclear weapons to promote a sense of fear to stop people doing things because they think they're going to get nuked. But I'm like, but no, but they did develop the atom because it all
Used
went
them.
wrong.
Well,
So
Hiroshima, they used the bombs.
I know. I just like, but there's a guy that's written books about it. He's going around giving talks about it. He's very credible. It's just like all
Just
this.
because someone says something doesn't mean it's true.
I know that. I have to believe that. I have to feel
Yeah,
it.
And
Not,
yeah.
architects do have the curvature in the bridges. It's all part of the engineering of it. They do.
I agree. I
Talking
was
out
like,
his
oh, this
arse, I'm
is
sorry.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
But he was like, I'm
yeah.
going to send you some
And you
stuff.
know I love a conspiracy theory, but that's nonsense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I do
Even
not.
I can't get on board with that one.
The
No,
flat Earth thing is just to me
No,
is just beyond.
If there
I
was an
don't
edge of
need
the
to have
earth,
to
you'd
think
be
about
doing
that right
trips.
now. Do you
You'd
know
have
what I
sold
mean?
trips to the edge if the edge was there. That's just not. No, no, no.
I think there is a suggestion. It's a bit more like the Truman Show, but then that's the same people that believe that the moon is basically a satellite that is basically informing us. It's probably full of Anunnaki. It's probably got a little, they said the man on the moon. It's probably a whole load of Anunnaki that's up there.
It's very pretty, and that's all I care about. The moon is nice to look at.
I think
Mhm.
it's a holding place for people when they die before they go on to their next place. I think it's kind of
Oh,
a magical place.
so I
Mm.
might get to visit it one day.
Well,
That
yeah.
would be nice.
The ancients thought it was covered in water. They really thought the moon was made out of water. I've been doing moon in I'm teaching people about moon in my medical astrology group. And the moon is just beautiful. In fact, I've got it coming up. So I was just doing the moon yesterday and I was just like, I love the moon, but
Mm.
I'm a very moon person.
Well, that's why they called that particular part of the moon the Sea of Tranquility. For example, the Koreans made a whole film. No, it was a series. It was a series about the Sea of Tranquility, about people being sent to the moon because there was a terrible water shortage and water was a commodity, and there were people, fighting over water basically, and they were going up there to try and find these experiments that all these people had been working on in this station on the moon by the Sea of Tranquility. It's really quite scary and spooky, but fascinating premise that
Mhm.
people still have got that feeling about the connection of well, the moon moves water, doesn't it? It moves our periods. It moves the water within us. And I think going back to what you said, Tamar, about our energy, it is so true that you can function perfectly well on very little sleep. I mean, I don't want to bring up that woman, but a certain female prime minister in
Oh,
the past was boasting about the fact that she only got 5 hours sleep, but she ended up with dementia. So that's not a recommendation.
It
yeah.
screws your
But,
brain up.
it can destroy your brain if you don't sleep properly. But we can garner our energy. You're absolutely right. And if we do our keeping the flow going with the infinity wave and doing the smoothing things out and letting things go, I think part of the exhaustion is not that you necessarily lost loads of your energy, although possibly you did, but you got affected by other people's, like you said with your friend, her energy kind of got stuck to you. And we have to kind of let that go. And as I work with quite a lot of people every day, and we're walking through people, we're bumping into people, we're kind of sharing our space. Our auras are bumping into each other all the time. So we are collecting other people's stuff. And if we make sure we clear that, we can function much better, much on a higher level. And we can look younger. Yeah, we can. I pulled the age card on a guy on the train on Sunday. And
What
I
did
thought,
you do?
but I don't look 70. How on earth is he going to believe me that I tell him I'm 70? I need this seat. I have to get to York and I have to see my patients. Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, and he just wasn't sure whether to believe me or not, but he didn't drag me out of the seat anyway, at least.
Wow. He
Yeah,
should
well,
have
there
said
was
that anyway.
canceled trains and too many people, and
Mm.
nobody had any bookings, although he claimed he did have a booking. But I said, no, you don't. Actually, I got here first, mate.
He got the Scorpio.
Yeah, he did.
Like he got the Scorpio. Blimey. Yeah, well, and also feeling good inside. So going back to the moon is a reflection of how we feel about ourselves, which is what the moon and the sun is what we project, and the moon is what we feel about ourselves. So it's behind the projection. So that's that kind of relationship with one another. So the better we feel about ourselves, the better our overall energy will look, I feel, will become brighter and lighter. Um,
Mm.
but that's not always entirely possible. So there's obsidian for
Hmm.
helping to get rid of those really kind of difficult feelings that come up anyway naturally as part of being a human.
Well, and all the ancestral stuff. I mean, I saw somebody else posted just today that they were talking about clearing your ancestral stuff for people who have gone before, but
Oh,
also people to come. And I've always kind of, I don't know where I acquired that piece of wisdom, but I've always felt that. It was probably from a homeopath, I should think. But it does feel like that if you process and do the inner work. Another friend of mine who went to Peru with Robert Edward Grant, by the way, just saying. I know somebody who was there in
Name
Peru.
dropped. I don't know who that is. Sorry, who's
no,
There's no,
in
no
Cancun,
influence,
we
no
don't know who
effect on
it
you
is.
whatsoever. Okay, look him up. He's a very wise person. He's also an entrepreneur, and he's very
man?
good at making money.
That's
But
what I thought. I just thought,
yes, he
man.
is. Yes, he is. But he's a lovely man, and he's doing a lot of exploring and working with the things that Graham Hancock is finding,
Ah,
the
no.
ancient temples and stuff. And they found three pyramids in Peru that are in the same configuration as the ones at Giza, which of course are also in the same configuration as Osiris. So, not Osiris, Orion's belt. I mean,
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's portals
yes, yes,
above, so below.
yes. So anyway, this friend of mine was saying about how she feels the inner work is the most important to do right now, and we can get so distracted by stuff, and but we need to go
It's
inside and
time
just
for
work
wintering,
on
isn't
those
it?
things.
This is a season of wintering where we just
Yeah,
go in and we're not out all the time, and we're kind of internalizing at home and spiritually. And
yeah.
yeah, I like wintering.
But some
Mm.
people find that easier than others. Some
Mm.
people find it really challenging to go into their feelings because that's not a place that they live. Aquarians aren't very emotional, for instance, so they find it quite difficult to access
I
their
think that's
emotions.
because their minds seem to take them off places.
They're just
I
not
think they
comfortable.
just like kind of go, oh, I will just follow that thought.
But they're
It's
also born in the spring, or I was born in the winter. So is that why it's more comfortable for me? Is there
Oh,
any link to that?
well, I definitely think there's definitely a link there because summer, I was walking with a summer friend the other day, as in we're both summer babies, and we came across a winter baby, and he was like, "Isn't this great?" And we were like, "Oh, it's cold." And it was like, come on, well, you're born in the winter, we're summer babies, we're doing this in summer. Well, you're going, it's too hot. And we're going, oh my God, it feels amazing. So there is
yeah.
a lot of that going on, yeah. But I do think some signs just find it very hard, Gemini as well, to go into deep emotions because they find it, I think they just get, it makes them too anxious. They find it too ungrounding to allow themselves to delve deep into their emotions. So I'm sending some love to those people because I appreciate the challenge. And as someone who lives in their feelings, it's quite easy to go into my feelings because I'm constantly in them. So
So my friend who's a Gemini subscribes to this channel. So Sam, comment below what you think.
yeah, Sam, we want to hear
Tell
what
us,
Let's
Gemini.
have some
What do you
feedback
think?
on that one. Yeah, I think it helps to have somebody to hold your hand while you're going into your feelings. It's not wise to just go and dwell in a puddle of emotion all by yourself
Mm. Well, if you keep it
necessarily.
contained, if you do it as a choice and it's
Mm,
contained, it's
mm,
far easier than being hurtled into them because you're triggered or
mm,
something, you're reacting to something because it's not contained.
mm.
too
Yeah,
true.
Counseling can help if you wish to go into your feelings with some help and guidance.
yes. And flower essences.
Not essential
We're
oils.
all here should you need assistance.
Absolutely, or emotional reprogramming.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Where's that come from? So
We've got
yes.
5 minutes because we've all got other things to go to. Is there
Quick,
anything else anyone wants to add to this very interesting conversation?
quick other question that I wrote down when I was listening to Heather was she was talking about Antares, which of course is got to do with Scorpio, which I really like. And she said that it was currently at the foot of the healer, but I didn't get the name of that planet that she was talking about, the healer. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again.
Yeah, June, can you share the links to this and the
I
first thing we
will.
spoke about? Because I'd quite like to listen to that. I think that'd be quite
Yeah.
interesting.
They were both to do with Sunday.
Mm.
Heather and Pam both had a thing about, but very different angles, which is lovely. I love listening to both of them. She said the four centaurs were all in an influential position right now at this moon as well. So that's Chiron, but I don't know the other three
Okay.
centaurs.
Mm.
Mm.
I hear these things, I know these things, and I promptly forget them because I don't talk in that way. Or
No.
I can remember what I can remember, and then that the rest of it just goes. But yeah, I
Yes.
wonder what she's talking about. Anyway, there is
I'll put the link in. Yeah.
some Mercury still retrograde until December the 15th.
That's
So
why I'm talking in gobbledygook.
that is also helping people to be very with it's opposing Jupiter and Gemini, so that is causing the triggering situations as well. So conversational content needs to be quite minimal, not the time to be having deep and meaningful conversations with people because they won't hear you the way you would like them to hear you. So just be aware of that because you can't keep pushing at a door that isn't going to open the way you'd like it to unless you're ready to fall into a place you don't particularly want to be.
The triggers are a message, so just figure out what that message is and hold on to it until it's a better time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much astrology going on at the moment, but big stuff, but it's all about this clearing, understanding, clearing, all of that. Just be gentle with yourself is really the ultimate thing, and don't do it willy-nilly, and don't, as these guys say, don't take it lightly. That self-introspection, it's not for the faint-hearted. It will probably require some professional support from a safe guide.
Okay. Ooh, on that note,
June has left the
Oh,
building.
no,
So safe, she left.
Greetings to all of you.
no. I just,
I want to talk.
Oh my God.
sorry.
June has been multitasking in the background.
On that note, I think we'll call that an end for today because we've got other stuff to go to. Nice to see everyone, and we'll see you around the next full moon.
Okay.
Bye.
See you.